on charges of racketeering, conspiracy and corruption by Switzerland's Federal Office of Justice. This follows a request by United States authorities. Now, 7 of those charged were arrested in Zurich earlier in the day, among them FIFA Vice President Webb. Former FIFA Vice President Warner is home in Trinidad, but he's out on bail. And Warner was released on 2.5 million TT dollars after he appeared in a magistrate's court with respect to a request by the U.S. for him to be extradited to face several charges in a New York court. He has been ordered to surrender all his travel documents and will reappear in court on July 9th. We have a report on what has been a dark day for football.
FIFA is facing 2 investigations, possibly of the gravest seriousness, for its members, its employees, its executives, and the game of football. And those investigations are on 2 separate continents. In the United States, this sweeping bribery corruption indictment centered on money laundering over the provision and broadcast rights. And in Switzerland, a criminal investigation looking into the highly controversial awarding of the 2018 and 22 World Cup awards to Russia and Qatar, respectively. Now, take all these together, and FIFA insists the presidential election, when Sepp Blatter is standing again to be appointed as president, will go ahead as planned. And that's despite a strong warning from Europe's influential football body, UEFA, that the proceedings risk turning into a farce.
A rude awakening for FIFA, and quite literally for the 7 officials from world football's governing body forced to rise from their beds at this Zurich hotel after an early morning raid by Swiss police. Later, in Miami, Florida, US federal investigators entered the offices of CONCACAF, the part of FIFA that runs the sport in Central and North America and the Caribbean. Football has never seen anything like this. 2 separate criminal investigations targeting officials at the highest level of the sport, although FIFA President Sepp Blatter is not one of those indicted.
This really is the World Cup of fraud, and today we're issuing FIFA a red card.
The US Department of Justice news conference was particularly damning, detailing allegations of fraud, racketeering and money laundering that sounded like a mafia movie script. It was claimed that bribes helped secure the first ever World Cup held in Africa. Among those arrested in Zurich, CONCACAF President Jeffrey Webb, touted as a potential future FIFA president. World football's governing body tried to put on a brave face.
This for FIFA is good. It's not good in terms of image, it's not good in terms of reputation, but in terms of cleaning up, in terms of everything what we did in the last 4 years, in terms of the reform process, this is good.
On an astonishing day, perhaps the most extraordinary aspect of all is the timing of the raids, coming 48 hours before more than 200 global football bosses vote in the FIFA presidential election. At the age of 79, Sepp Blatter is still the overwhelming favourite to retain his post, although with US justice officials promising to continue their investigations, his 5th term in office could be even more scandal-ridden than the previous 4.
Well, BFA President Randy Harris is in Switzerland for Friday's elections, and he's expected to give a comment during the football show Extra Time, scheduled for 8:30 p.m. on TV8. Barbados wicketkeeper batsman Shane Dorrich is keeping his name on the West Indies selector's lips after he posted a fine half-century against the touring Australians today in Antigua. Dorrich scored 78, inclusive of 6 fours and a 6 in the WICB President's 11 score of 288 for 5 on day 1 of the 3-day tour match at the Viv Richards Stadium. Also among the runs was Rajendra Chandrika, who made 74 with 11 fours. Roston Chase also hit a half-century. He's still there on 65, while Shamar Brooks only got 4. Well, the West Indies are looking like a united squad as the fine-tuning continues ahead of the first test with Australia next week. The team has been in a training camp here in Barbados. CBC's Anne-Marie Burke went to Bennett's in St. Thomas.
The West Indies test squad has been putting in the groundwork ahead of the first test in Antigua, and it's right here in Barbados at the Franklin Stevenson Academy where the team has been going through final paces. Stevenson has been sitting in on some of the sessions, and he believes the strong work ethic can pay off.
it's easy to put first-class players in the training environment and they just go through the motions in a sense, thinking that they're, almost being encumbered in some way. But I've seen a lot of enthusiasm. The first day that they came, I was trying to shoo a lot of the members away, not shoot them away, just try to hold them back in case we were flooded and the guys didn't feel very comfortable to do their training and so on. And we did allow a couple of the young kids to come down, and instead of us keeping them away, they asked to let them come and mingle and join in and so on. And the kids were so excited, and it shows that the team is very relaxed, comfortable in their skin at the moment. And I see the coaches are working really hard. And yesterday was again an improvement on the first day, with the sharpness of the batting and the bowlers hitting their lengths and so on. From my vantage point.
Outside of the on-field training, the team was involved in a retreat hosted by the WICB. Manager Richie Richardson said there were pertinent lessons learned from those sessions.
Everybody realized the importance of us all working together to achieve one common goal, and that is to restore West Indies cricket. And there's a plan going forward, and the plan is for us to become #1 again in the near distant future in all formats of the game, and we're all cognizant of that. And we all believe that we need to be back there. We know that the entire Caribbean wants us to be back there, and the rest of the world as well. So that's our goal, and we all have to do our part. We all have to play our part in various areas. And we got to be patient. And once the right plan's in place and everybody buy into the plan, then I'm sure we will achieve a good level of success.
The West Indies team leaves the island on Saturday for Antigua. Anne-Marie Burke, CBC Sports.
Well, thanks, Anne-Marie. And CBC Sports took to the streets to get the views of the public on the exclusion of Shivnarine Chanderpaul from the West Indies Test squad for the upcoming series with Australia.
I'm very upset that they dropped my tiger. That's my tiger.
I think Chanderpaul is one of the best cricketers the West Indies have. He's certainly better than Lara.
He should have been out the West Indies side ever since, because he's a very selfish player. And he's all for himself. There are times when West Indies could have done better, but Shivnarine Chanderpaul was only thinking about himself and not as a team. He gives you the impression that he's a team player, but he's not a team player, right? He's all for himself. And I agree with the West Indies Cricket Board of Controls sacking Chanderpaul.
Chanderpaul had a chance to resign. He have done well for the West Indies, no doubt about that. But right now, he haven't. Last 2 series, he haven't made much runs. So it's time to move on. He's the oldest player probably right now in Test cricket. So it's time to move on now and get the youngsters in as soon as possible.
The views of the public. Well, that's it for sports. The business report is next.